This is Elizabeth Milito, Executive Senior Legal Counsel at NFIB's Legal Center. At a recent NFIB meeting outside Philadelphia, she had some tips for small business owners. First, on why the U.S. Department of Labor is doing more wage and hour audits and how the agency is soliciting worker complaints.
They have this whole initiative, We Can Help, which is essentially a solicitation for wage and hour complaints. It's very easy now to go online and very quickly, if you don't believe you've gotten the right amount of overtime or you're not getting overtime, you think you should be, your job's misclassified, whatever, to file a complaint on the We Can Help website. Tied in with the We Can Help website, the administration, DOL, has developed an app for your phones that employees can use to very easily track it generates a timesheet. And there is a way then you can just click on the app and have the timesheet sent to the U.S. Department of Labor, along with filling in exactly why it is you would like them to review your timesheet and essentially your complaint. So this is a smartphone app that they've developed. And then finally, the third component of the administration's kind of helping employees is a bridge to justice. So if you call the Department of Labor, they will pair you up with a plaintiff's attorney, a plaintiff's firm in your area.
Hiring practices.
The goal of hiring practices and all the practices in your business are to promote equal employment opportunity. In other words, somebody said to me, well, he's not fair. I was listening, an employee was complaining to me, it just was not fair. Well, it's not about fair, it's because life is not fair, right? The workplace is not always going to be fair. But what is legal and what is illegal? So it is illegal to take an adverse job action, not hire somebody, not promote somebody, terminate somebody, not give them a wage increase because of a protected characteristic. So because of their race, their color, their religion, sex, their age, their disability, if they're pregnant, that sort of thing. There's about 11 protected categories. Standardized hiring practices are really important. So with interviews, with job applications, you just want to make sure you're asking the same questions in interviews, using the same job application. You're not mixing things up. So you're not asking different questions for male applicants that you're asking a female applicant. So you're not asking female applicants, do you have kids? Do you have to leave early to pick up the kids? That sort of thing. And you're not asking those questions of male applicants. It's the discrepancy there that's going to get you in trouble. The don't ask on the application, don't ask someone's age. I know that sometimes is very evident though, if you've got, when they graduated from school and that sort of thing. But again, you don't want to be making an adverse decision based on their age. Asking about race, gender, things you don't want to ask. I mean, I've been asked about marital status, children. I've been asked about my religion, whether I go to church, all those sort of questions that are just, in this day and age, really not appropriate. And I don't know if anybody disagrees with that, but yeah, it's really, you want to stick with job-related functions. So if you have concerns about the person being able to work overtime last minute, that's the question you ask them. You don't ask them, do you have young kids? Are you going to be able to, stay past 5? Or are you going to be racing out of here? I mean, if they're going to need to stay past 5 last minute notice, and that's a real essential function of the job, then that's what you ask them about.
On timesheets.
Overtime for the non-exempt employee. You cannot offer comp time in lieu of overtime for non-exempt employees, and I just had another call about this the other day. Even if the employee says they want comp time, not overtime, because I think, again, more and more often you're getting employees that would like additional time off as opposed to maybe the overtime. The other category, problem area, if you will, with wage and hour issues, separate from the classification, is unpaid overtime, and this is what I call off-the-clock pay. This is for the hourly worker who's doing off-the-clock things, sometimes, not that much time, maybe checking emails at night, doing a bank run on the way home, those sort of things. You want to make sure you're capturing all that time there. You're not having kind of like pre-printed time cards. They should be filling out time cards every single day, the non-exempt employees. Wage and hour audits. Gosh, I think the Department of Labor in the last year's budget got money to hire 400 new auditors, agents that go out in the field too. And by the way, most of the audits are tipped or cued, if you will, by an employee complaint. By and large, there's a few industries that DOL is targeting, but over 80% of the complaints are because you had an employee or maybe a former employee, but usually it's a current employee who has called and filed a complaint. And 50% of the complaints come from employees at small businesses.
On workers' comp.
People do get hurt legitimately on the job, sometimes not legitimately, but legitimately on the job. They do go out injured, and then what do you do as a small business owner? And unfortunately, it's a murky area, and there are laws, retaliation laws, that protect individuals from termination under workers' comp. So, I mean, I think let me know if you disagree, Kathy, but most employment defense side employment attorneys are very conservative on this, and just, you need to keep the guy or gal around as long as you can, or at least, hold the spot for him as long as you can. And you need to push your carrier to make a decision as to whether, to get the guy back to work. I mean, I think the whole goal needs to be to get the individual back to work. Then if they come back to work and the doctor has cleared them for work and they're still not able to perform the essential functions of the job, that's when you can then talk about termination.
NFIB members can get printed material from the Legal Center on human resources, wage and hour information, immigration, insurance, taxes, and more. This report has been brought to you by NFIB Pennsylvania.